All right. All right. Are you ready to hear it? Are you ready to know the future? What happens if you do, like after this show? Then you tell people, I actually know the future because I just saw it on the Lift the Veil show. He told me exactly what was going to happen in 2023. Yeah, I would make a betting market for all of the things that I'm going to propose today. And I have a special guest joining me to facilitate one of the things that I claim is going to happen in the new year, 2023, which we just started yesterday. So welcome, like you made it. They didn't win. You didn't kill yourself during the holidays like they wanted you to. But now you're back to work, so you might be thinking about it again, which I discourage. We want people to make it. We want to all make it through this year. So what is going to happen? I'll tell you. And like I said, I have a guest joining me to talk about an internet personality who's in the news. And so we're going to talk about the shot. And it's actually one of my predictions. I got to stop the music. How's everybody doing? Okay, let me reset. Welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome everybody on YouTube. Welcome everybody on DLive. Glad to see you guys. Happy 2023. One of the things that's going to happen is going to be an economic collapse or an economic crisis, I should say. So I hope you guys are ready for that. One of the predictions I have is about cryptocurrency. And actually, we can ask our guest. I see him. I wonder if he can hear me. Yeah, he can. Okay, good. So you're hearing the show. I'm going to play the intro to the show. I'm going to give you a few predictions, and then we're going to be joined by our guest, which will take us back in time, circa 2017. Just like my intro does pretty much every time I play it. It's like a rewind, right? All right, so let's get that queued up. And then we have our guest queued up, and we're going to talk about one part of the 2023 prediction. I hope you're all ready. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of... Apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. I bring you the news, the real news. Hey, everybody who is talking about a clicking sound. Did I sort it out during the audio pause there? I reset something. So if I was clicking, I apologize for that. Sometimes it happens. So if I was clicking, I apologize. We always want to bring you this show without any technical glitches at all. That's our goal. We don't always achieve our goal. Sometimes there are technical imperfections. So, all right, one of the things we're going to predict, I'm going to roll right into this. I have my guest here, Defango. I'm going to bring him on. One of our predictions for 2023 is that false prophets will be exposed, sort of like Andrew Tate, I believe. So I'll get into the Andrew Tate stuff. I think he's probably guilty. But one of the people talking about Andrew Tate, who we're going to discuss with our guest, is someone who goes by the name Eliza Blue, who I believe is going to appear on the Tim Pool podcast sometime this week. And Eliza Blue is a major influencer in the Twitter sphere. The Twitter sphere, which includes these things called Twitter Spaces, which are kind of a big deal, definitely to the people who use them. And there's kind of like one of those Twitter Spaces that everybody goes to. And this Eliza Blue character appears in those Twitter Spaces from time to time and is an influential character who claims to be a survivor of sex trafficking. So she claims to be a survivor of sex trafficking, has become prominent on Twitter, and apparently is involved somehow in Twitter safety for child protection, child exploitation. She is like a recognized expert on child exploitation and sex trafficking. But I've come to find some people on the internet saying that she might not be everything that she says she is. And that includes Michael Tracy, whose tweet I saw first today. Michael Tracy, who's, like a dissident reporter, kind of left, right, whatever. He's not really on a side. He was calling her out. And then underneath Michael Tracy's tweet, I saw DeFango, and I know DeFango, and DeFango's here. There. Turn on your mic. It's on mute.
Sorry, I had to I muted myself. My bad. What's up, everybody? How's it going? So, yeah, I guess you explained it pretty well. I did see Michael Tracy tweeting about that stuff today, and I mean, I made a thread about it a while back. I got blocked by her for asking questions, and those were just part of the questions that I was asking.
Yeah,
in
so
that
this is
thread.
interesting. It's interesting. I would want to talk to if I'm going to talk to DeFango, I want him to have some kind of expertise on this. And actually, from what I could tell, you knew her before she was, before she came out as a sex trafficking survivor, basically, right? And you knew her. Okay, so tell me about that. Like, what's your history?
So the history with her specifically is that I used to run a show on stickam.com. It was a Friday night show with a guy named Brennan, aka Cyber54. Every Friday night we would be on there. It was at like prime time hours, and we would basically get the front page of the website so that we could live stream, kind of like how Rumble does it, where they pick and choose who they're going to put up there to be at the front. We had that show, and Eliza was actually a person who was also on the website pretty regularly, hanging out with the same people that I hung out with, namely Jeffree Star, Matthew Lush, and a couple of other, like, I guess you could say gay electronic music creators. Like, they weren't directly my friends. I met them through Brennan, but I was like the co-host on his show, so like I just kind of ended up being everywhere that he was. So I met most of these people. And that's actually when I first met Eliza herself. And she was a completely different character way back then. Like, specifically, she was into like emo. She was like a hairstylist. She was working with different bands, and like this huge crazy story about her being engaged to Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance had came out. And it wasn't like it was a lie. She definitely like did actually possibly get engaged to the dude at one point at one time, but it was like this thing that they were like she was making up, and then she ended up writing like this really long post on her live journal about like the story, and it basically recounts everything about what we need to know about her backstory, because she originally moved to LA when she was 22 years old after being on this television show called Blind Date. And like the reason that she moved out there is because she figured that she would make it big. That's how she like started getting into things with Stickam, because she was like a paid performer for Stickam. Like she was
what is Stickam? Like you're really an OG live streamer, because
yeah.
I thought I was live streaming before it was really cool, but I started in 2016 you're talking about live streaming on something called Stickum. People in the chat are saying, "Oh, Stickum, I haven't thought of that."
Yeah,
How long ago was that you were live streaming
that's
there?
that was like I think I started live streaming with Brennan on in 2005 on Stickam, and then it went all the way to I believe 2008 or so. Like the company itself shut down, but it was like Justin TV, a competitor. Justin TV turned into Twitch. For most people, they know that. Um, so it was the competitor to Justin TV, and it utilized the same technology that was utilized for the porn webcams of the day. So when people used to go watch the sexy ladies take their clothes off, this guy named Takahashi, who was like the webcam king for Japan for a very long time, opened up a company in the United States called Stickam, and basically Stickam was like their nice usage of the technology that they were using for all those porno cams. And like that's how it became popular. Like they used to basically pay people to like run shows on the website, and it was supposed to be like an online media revolution. The coolest thing about it though is that it was like, you know how we have these spaces here? Like I could have a show where it was just me and my webcam, right? But I could have up to 7 to 8 people join me at a time on video where we could all talk together. And this is back then in 2017, and still there hasn't been any like live streaming technology that quite like meets what that was. The only thing was this thing called Night Owl, which no longer exists, but it
Hmm.
was it was like a cool thing. So like I had just learned about it. I was actually like in the talks with that company to get $1 million to do a bus tour where we were going to live stream a bus tour across the United States, but the company ended up going under because for whatever reason, some wires got crossed between Stickam and the porno cams, and then on Stickam there was actually like webcam models popping up when it was supposed to be somebody else, and that ultimately got the website shut down because they had
Really?
an issue with the age verification. And on top of that, like the porno cam thing, like popping it up to like a 12-year-old was not a good deal. So like they shut down. You could actually like go look this kind of shit up. So to me it was kind of shitty, but like that's kind of where I met her, figured out who she was, and had been around. So like back then I was advocating for against like child sex abuse and all of the stuff that was happening on Stickam. So like that was part of what my shtick was, is that Brendan was like this like ooh happy go lucky guy, and I was more of the older curmudgeon dude, even though we were both basically the same age. I think I was probably, it was 2007, so I was like barely turning 21, so I was still
Hmm.
pretty young. I was still pretty young, like it was a long time ago. So
So,
Eliza,
yeah, tell me.
go ahead.
What
So I
about
was
her?
just saying,
Oh,
so
yeah.
she was there. She had a show on there for a long time. She was calling herself Eliza Cuts, and I mean, she just kind of like disappeared in for most of us after the Stickam days. Like I kind of
So
followed her online.
she was kind of like known on Stickum, and she was known as something else, like Eliza Cuts, right?
Yes, yeah, she
And
was
then
known as Eliza Cuts.
she was hanging out with My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, she was like a groupie. So she was more of a stalker, I should actually say. Like she started going to the Warp Tour, met like a photographer, used that photographer to get to the drummer, used the drummer to get to the main guy, and then everything was cool with them until they discovered her like live journal and like the crazy stuff that she was like blogging about her quest to find the love of Mr. Gerard, and I think that's ultimately why he ended up breaking it off with her and getting married to this other chick. But I mean, it
Okay.
was just kind of a crazy thing.
Interesting. So she kind of like she had like some level of fame or whatever you call it when you're on Stickum,
Hmm.
and was also trying to hang out with like kind of famous people. Like, and then she was engaged to this guy, My Chemical Romance, but never mentioned anything about being trafficked
Never
during all
mentioned
that
anything
time,
about
right?
traffic. Actually, she used to like joke about shit like that back in the day, where she was talking about, oh, we're gonna be drawing in we're gonna be drawing in girls and guys for the people that we're hanging out with, like namely Jeffree Star. And I mean, she was 22 years old, when I think I met her at first. So like, she was older than me, making fun of me because I still couldn't get into the bars and things. But
Mhm.
like I was driving everybody everywhere. So it was
Hmm.
just kind of like a weird situation. Like, I had a little bit of a different kind of life back then, but I guess I had some fun. I just think that Eliza's whole entire story at that point in time just doesn't seem to really line up or add up. And it's mostly because she's gone on a few different shows and she mentions going to the Warped Tour. She mentions, the My Chemical Romance stuff. And then she said that it was a photographer or it was a high profile basketball player. And then it became a high profile musician, but we still never heard who it was. Right.
Right.
And even more so. And I think that this is a little bit crazier is that, coming to now is that about 2 years ago, I reached out to her to ask her about her story because I remember her, number one. And I was like, oh, wow, like you were getting trafficked. And it was in my brain that it happened after that. Right. Like
Mm,
when she got into being like, the rep girl video vixen, showing her chi-chis and stuff,
mm-hmm.
that would have made more sense to me. And like it just like I asking her questions, like basically I tried to get her to come onto my show so we could talk about her story, and she just wouldn't talk about her story. She wanted to focus on like Twitter or something else. And that's
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't want to bring her on the show after that, basically.
Hmm.
And
Right.
then
But
I've
when
kind
was
of
that?
just sat back. That was probably in like 2020. It was like when she first started getting her story out there before she went on to the Epoch Times. So like it was
Hmm.
very interesting to me that like back then I was trying to get information, couldn't get information, and then later on, I kept following her, watching what was happening, and then started pulling down the different stories, and she hadn't blocked me at the time, so I just would collect information. I would tweet stuff at her, and then she would get mad at me. And since I lose Twitter accounts all the time whenever they figure out it's me, um I just keep like it's hard because like I've asked her on multiple different accounts, right?
Right. Right.
And
To
this is
come
the
on your
most
show,
recent
you're
one.
saying? You
Yeah,
asked her to come on your show to talk about it.
yeah, I asked her to
Before
come talk about
she
it. She wouldn't
ignored
talk
you.
about it.
Right.
It's not that she ignored me. She talked to me. It said she didn't want to talk about giving out her story. She
Right.
just wanted to talk about these other things. And I had another connection with her, this Lelia Micklethwait, who basically is the main person fighting against Pornhub. She got their credit card processing and stuff shut down. I mean, she's just been rallying against them. And, just the bad shit that they've been doing with like posting,
Mhm.
CP, letting people post CP and stuff up there and, not taking it down.
Mhm.
So like it was kind of a thing because like I was able to talk to her to get to her, but she wouldn't want to talk about this stuff. So I kind of like put her by the wayside and then just followed her, kept following her story. And then over the next 2 years, basically, I was just like, what the hell, man? This doesn't make any goddamn sense. This is, little Lisa, old Lisa Cuts. This doesn't seem like it's very real anymore. I mean, I would have believed it if she would have gotten the story straight and it would have been a believable
Hmm.
story, but the
Hmm.
timeline just doesn't add up. She says that she was 17 when she first moved to her story states that she was 17 when she first moved to LA, but me, a bunch of other people that know her know that she didn't move to LA until she was 22. So she could
Right.
have gotten trafficked, but she didn't move
Hmm.
that like at face value, it's just false. Like it
Hmm.
couldn't happen. And that's what's sad about it is because she seems to have gotten a lot of popularity out there for
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
She's pretty huge now.
Yeah, like she's a big deal. Like I heard her on Twitter Spaces, and when I heard her talk, I was like, "Oh, she sounds interesting. I wonder what her deal is." But then, and then I think I just saw she's going to be on Timcast, and then one of the things she really does on Twitter is like pump up Elon Musk. She's always like saying how great Elon Musk is, and like comparing Elon Musk to Julian Assange, which some people took offense to. So, she's which to me, it makes me think, oh, or when people are doing that, I think, are they sucking up to Elon Musk just because he owns Twitter, basically? And they think, oh, it'll probably be good for engagement and whatever. That's what I wonder when people do that kind of thing. So I was curious about her. I wasn't, and I'm curious about anybody who says they were a survivor of trafficking. But it sounds like basically, she said something which is verifiably false, which is why your thread picked up traction and stuff, which is just the age situation. And then I guess what she says is her recollection of what happened is she just doesn't have details. She won't say who the people are. and so forth. And now she's claiming to represent one of the victims of Andrew Tate, or she's
Hmm.
like a victim counselor or something.
Or she's a
So,
victim. We don't know. She doesn't want to discuss it. She made a tweet sometime last year when Andrew Tate's stuff first came out, and she says that once I start investigating something, I don't talk about it. And then that was back then. So ever since then, anytime Andrew Tate has came up, she's just all like, I'm not at liberty to talk about it. Like, she's in some LARP investigation, like she's working with the FBI or something, which is
right.
crazy. And that doesn't even get into the fact that, do you know that her actual last name is Morthland, and her dad is a farmer who also works in the Illinois representative, like state representative. So he's like a state representative. He's in
Oh,
government.
really? Really? He's in government for real?
Yeah, he's for real. He's in government.
Hmm.
And it's just kind of, he's in Chicago government, to be
Right,
exact.
right. Which
So
is
like,
a tricky area to be in government.
I'm just kind of like, if your dad was in government and he knew about this stuff, and, according to you, you talk to your parents about these things, like, why hasn't anything been done over
Right,
the
right,
years? And
right.
even more so, you talk about the Elon Musk stuff, is that she was always wrapped up into Elon Musk. Like, she went from Andrew Yang to Elon Musk, and it was like a pretty direct shift. And before she even started doing most of this advocating stuff, she was actually given a Tesla by Elon Musk when they were trying to put together like the biggest Tesla parade that ever was, where it was like a bunch of Tesla cars all driving at once. So like
Really?
she's actually had more of a history with Tesla before, and directly with Elon Musk before all this other stuff happened.
Wow.
So like, like that's some
Wow.
inside baseball type stuff, but you can go online and see that there's, stuff. And I actually did post another thread within my thread that actually gets into that, because some other chick that was looking into her like last year had picked up on that. And that's the
Right.
kind of like strange thing, she went from being yang gang to like doing Tesla stuff. Then all of a sudden she got connected with the Epoch Times. And then that's when, this whole thing just kind of blew up, and she started going on tons of different shows, told a couple of different stories. And I was just kind of like, I don't want to say anything, but, when I finally asked her, point blank about some of this stuff, she just blocked me. And I was just like, all right,
Hmm.
well, I'm going to put a thread out, and then I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm actually pretty surprised, because it's probably the only thing that I've gotten any traction on in the last, like, forever, really. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
kind of
I
crazy.
mean, you're unique because you actually knew her before. Like most people have no idea what her history is. Like, what she was like during the time when she apparently said she was being trafficked, and you didn't see it going on, and she wasn't talking about any of it back then, and now all of a sudden. So I guess people just have to wonder, like, if she's using the story as a way to gain influence,
Yeah,
which is
that's
fucked
what I
up.
think it is.
If that's what she's doing, that's like a really fucked up kind of like stolen valor, I guess. Just saying
I
you're a survivor of trafficking, but you're not really.
Well, after I did my thread, she changed from being a survivor to being a survivor advocate. So, like I told her in the first
Really?
place, I was like, you could be an advocate, but like don't come out with a fake story that's verifiably false. Because like if I'm the last guy that anybody's gonna listen to. I'm the last guy that, people even care about with my history and the QAnon stuff, the Seth Rich stuff.
Right.
Like my name
Right.
is gone through the fucking ringer, okay? Pardon my
Yes.
language.
Yes.
But if you Google it, like, people are going to automatically look at my stuff and, say a bunch of stuff that's just verifiably false about me, because they're not going to go to the point where they're going to look at all the stuff that we've released to kind of defend it. But, at this time, I'm just kind of like, oh, I got blocked. And then, I did a thread because I thought I'd be funny. And I'm just kind of like, wow, people actually are noticing. And I've had other people reach out to me that have been like, I don't want to talk about you directly, and we know your history, but like this is
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, I should say Defango is like a known internet LARPer and serial,
troll,
yeah,
notorious
serial
internet provocateur,
provocateur, I will say.
notorious internet provocateur.
who sometimes says things that aren't true just for the
It
lulls.
was one time. It was one time.
So, but anyway, but you've been live streaming forever. And I guess that's how, you were connected to this person. So you actually have inside information. And what you posted in your thread was a lot of receipts, basically. So, I mean, at least it seems like uh, that she definitely wasn't the age she said she was when she said things happened. So she was caught saying something that probably wasn't true. So, well, curious to see how things develop with her. You do you go to these Twitter Spaces and stuff? Do you listen in on any of them?
Yeah, actually, I've been trying to get into a few of them. I actually did get into the ones with, her and like Kim.com and a couple of
Yeah.
the other people. And literally, like, at first they let me in because it was like they could only see my first name. But as soon as like Ian Miles Shung heard my voice, I'm pretty sure he started like he got off of the mic and then he went into his phone or whatever and researched who the fuck I was. And then after that happened, like within probably about 5 minutes, I got booted from the space because
Oh,
they didn't
really?
want me in there or whatever talking. Because like if you look at my
Keepers.
feed, I put out all this information. I'm like, oh well, here's Ian Miles Chung, and if you guys don't remember this guy, here's all the stuff that he did or whatever, because like these are the people that are all of a sudden like the new big folks, right? Like
Right.
Kim.com, like Seth Rich Files, Ninja Video, Mega Upload, Kim.com, that guy. Like the last time that he was even big was for the Seth Rich stuff, and he was claiming to have like access to his email account and shit. Remember
Right.
that? And that was like 2017, and that nothing ever came out of that. He was larping his proverbial booty off, and to see Kim.com all of a sudden fade into these Twitter spaces and start taking control is a very, very like weird thing. And then 4chan's picking that stuff up too. I don't have anything to do with that, but I've seen on 4chan, like 4chan has already started to look at this terrible character, this Mario Nawfal character, then they're talking about a King.com and this Ian Miles Chong, all of them, all have very long, shady histories with being truth tellers, and all of a sudden they're in control of the Twitter spaces. Like they're
Yeah, I
getting the biggest
know.
spaces. It doesn't make any sense, dude.
Yeah, this Twitter Spaces thing, I mean, it's easy to get mad because they've turned into these gatekeepers where it's seriously Twitter Spaces would be cool if there was more than one of them that people went to, but there's like one and everybody goes to it. And in like the people who go up on stage are kind of becoming more influential and stuff. So the people who go on stage are like that Tara Bull and Eliza and Ian Miles Chong and yeah, just people who are on Twitter all the time, have big followings and stuff.
Did you ever go on Clubhouse?
No, I never used it, but
Hmm.
it's the same, right? It's the same as
Yeah.
Twitter Spaces, right?
Well, some inside baseball on Clubhouse is that I was actually on Clubhouse as Defango. So, like, for a brief period, I had gotten my Twitter account back and I used it to make that other account before they nuked me again. And at that point, I was like following along, seeing how it's going, mostly looking into the NFT groups because that's where a lot of like the NFT scams were born. So
Mhm.
all I really ever see on Twitter Spaces nowadays is that same group that was on Clubhouse, basically like trying to run the scene, has now moved over to
Oh,
Twitter
really?
Spaces and are doing the same thing.
It's the same people?
It's
So
the
those
same
are
people.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? So it was Ian Miles Chong and stuff too over on
Hmm.
Clubhouse or really?
That's right. That's right. And that's how I stopped being able to get a voice over there, is because like, like my name was just directly to Fango. It's King Pirate on Twitter. So like, they don't have the instant name recognition, right?
Right,
Which is
right.
good for me because like it allows me to be there for a little while longer. But like immediately, like I'm in a space, sometimes I get booted out if I have one or two of these people in there. Some of them follow me and they've been paying attention to my stuff, but I think more or less they're just trying to see if I'm going to actually start pulling stuff up. Like the only one that I don't really have much information on is this Terrible character. All I know is that she was an OnlyFans girl. She's sponsored by OnlyFans, and
Really?
she's I guess now in control of being one of the top hosts of Spaces, and
Mhm.
it's just strange. She's also a fighter against like CP child sex trafficking stuff, but at the same time, OnlyFans has a huge problem with that. So like, I just not see there's a fucking problem there, and I don't know what it is, but I haven't figured it out yet. But when I will,
Interesting.
when I do, I'll say something.
Well, this is one of our predictions going into 2023, false prophets exposed. So we'll say that, yeah, some of these people that are the gatekeepers and people are uh, that they're going to be exposed for whatever they're up to. So we're talking today, we talked about Eliza, who's famous on
Yeah,
Twitter.
very famous.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere,
Well,
dude.
I know. Yeah, I would do Twitter Spaces, but you can't start it from your computer. Like I would do it the same time I do my show. I would just
Well,
do it on Twitter, but you can't start it except on your phone, right?
Well, I mean, the only other way that I know that people do it from their computer and like use this would be for to you get a if you have like a Windows computer, you would get something called
Mm,
BlueStacks, which
mm,
allows you
mm,
to install like an Android phone on your computer, and then you just
right.
download the Twitter app to that, and then you can use Spaces with your mic and be
I
on the
see.
computer. So like you
Uh,
could do it; it'd be pretty easy. You really just
Well,
need
I'm
to
on
install.
Apple. I'm on all Apple stuff.
If you're on Apple, then is it a new M1 or is it the older Intel?
It's an Intel.
Then you should still be able to load the app, actually. Like, they
What a
have
mobile, like a fake mobile app or something
yeah, you just load the mobile app, really, is what I think. I think if
on my
you're
computer?
yeah, I think if it's an Intel Mac, you have to have, Xcode installed, but you can launch after you install Xcode, you can launch, like, a
Hmm.
Twitter app and then go into Spaces, but
That's
it's much better with I have an M1 Mac. So, with the
weird.
M1 Mac, you could just install the Twitter app and go live on Spaces. So, like,
Interesting. Okay.
you might
Well,
want
maybe I'll upgrade to it.
upgrade. Those new Macs are pretty dope, dude.
I want one. My wife got one, but I'm still on the old machine. But
Well,
it
you
works.
have that like, that big one, right?
I have a big one, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
so it's good.
27 incher?
Pretty good. Yeah, they haven't even come out with they'll have to come out with a new big iMac. They'll call it like the iMac Pro or something probably.
Yeah, I can't wait till they bring it out, but that's what I've been kinda, like, waiting for. Like, I have a mini, which is really it's good, it's just that I want, the big one.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
used to have at work.
Yep. All right, DeFango. Well, that's what I wanted to have you on for to discuss that. And yes, people can discount DeFango because of his background, which some people know about, but doesn't mean DeFango's not doesn't mean he's always wrong. Sometimes he knows stuff. And he does know about this girl because he was talking to her back in the day. Thanks, DeFango.
No problem, man. Thank you, have a good day,
Oh,
brother.
how do people find you? Sorry. I should
Oh, they can find me on Twitter at Kang_pirate, or you can find me on YouTube or Twitch at DeFango or Merlin DeFango. You'll find me there. So, yeah.
okay. At
Thank you very much.
Kang_pirate and DeFango. Just like it is on the screen. All right. Thanks,
Yeah.
DeFango.
Thanks a lot, man. Later.
Yeah. See ya. That was DeFango. He was back. He was on this show back in the day, back in 2017, back when this was a huge show. Me and DeFango were going back and forth with each other. So yeah, that's the story. That's along with the theme of false prophets exposed. So one of the things that's going to happen this year is people like Andrew Tate will be exposed. So I'll show you some of the derogatory stuff about Andrew Tate, and actually I'll show you some of the non-derogatory stuff about Andrew Tate. Some people saying to me, who cares about Andrew Tate? Which is fine. I'm interested because, you know why I'm interested in Andrew Tate? Is because I'm like it actually made me upset that I watched the interview with Andrew Tate. And this is still a 2023 prediction show. But I wanted to bring DeFango on to talk about Eliza. Andrew Tate, the thing about him is he is famous. Oh, for one thing, he is smart and he is good at chess. So I have to give him some credit for that. Like he is obviously an intelligent person He was successful. He was a good kickboxer, like world champion. And he says some things that are truths. He says some things that are truths that a lot of people don't want to hear. So, and then on the other side of that, he's also a sex trafficker who was exploiting women for his money, basically. And I was like, what upset me is I watched him on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan didn't ask him one question about him being a pimp, like a sleazy pimp, which now that I know more about him, I would definitely ask him about being a sleazy pimp and like whether he's holding women hostage and stuff. Like nobody thought to ask him that. And if you want to support the show, I'll get into more Andrew Tate. If you want to support the show, we are 100% listener supported. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil and leave a note. You can always super chat too, or super chat it's called, right? But it's better to go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil and leave me a coffee, and I'll read, and then you can leave a message and I'll read it on the show. Okay. And then also we have shirts, t-shirts available at truthclothing.io, which are awesome. Check them out, truthclothing.io. Okay. So what I was upset about was listening to Piers Morgan not ask him that question. And then also he was on Tucker Carlson after the raid, and the raid at his house was over him supposedly holding somebody hostage. And Tucker Carlson just let him dismiss it as a swatting. So, which it wasn't a swatting. It seems like it was really a raid over suspected human trafficking, like holding women hostage, basically. So and he kind of bragged about doing that, about holding women's passports. So for the people who say, oh, who's Andrew Tate or whatever, he was really famous. As far as I could tell from the Piers Morgan interview, Piers Morgan said he is the most Googled person in the world in 2022. So he was, by some measures, the most famous person in the world in 2022. And I saw a list actually of most influential people in 2022. And number 1 was Andrew Tate. And like number 2 was Elon Musk. So that's how big a deal he is for the people who told me, oh, who cares? Who cares about Andrew Tate? Well, some people obviously did. He's got like over 100,000 people apparently paying him $50 a month for advice. And I worked out the math on that. That's like millions of dollars a month. So that's a lot. It seems like he was raking in a lot of dough, and by advising men, supposedly selling memberships and stuff. So first, let me give you the defense of him. This is from some girl that he beat in a video. So like, I don't understand why people were idolizing him. Basically, he's a abuser. It seems like an admitted abuser and sex trafficker. But if you want to call OnlyFans or something sex trafficking, I mean, he is. If you want to call that trafficking, you can call it whatever you want. He's a pimp. So if I were to have a chance to interview him, I would ask him about being a pimp. And I thought that Piers Morgan and Tucker Carlson and stuff didn't do it much justice by just like Piers Morgan didn't mention it. It didn't mention once like what he does for a living, which is pimp out girls online. Sometimes maybe against their will. So anyway, this is in his defense. This is his ex speaking in his defense.
I'm pretty sure you know that Andrew Tate has been arrested for human trafficking and a rape, which is absolutely absurd, simply for the reasons that it's absolutely false. I have lived with Andrew for years and years, and he would never do anything like this, ever. I've already had to make 2 videos regarding his innocence when it came to him being called a woman beater for a video that got leaked of us two having a little bit of a rough role play. I had to make a video clarifying, 2 videos in fact, clarifying that he is innocent. And here I am again, coming from somebody who lived with him for years. He is not a human trafficker. He would never rape anybody, and he would certainly never ever human traffic anyone either, including his brother. I am just so shocked, and I'm so fed up with all of these lies. Even though we're no longer together, it upsets me because I know the person I have lived with. I know who he is, and he is neither of those things, and he does not deserve any of this coming his way. I'm pretty sure you know that Andrew Tate has been arrested.
So that's his ex. So that's what people are saying in support of him. And some people are saying, oh, like, I know his character, so he's not a bad guy. But here he is on video talking about what he did. So let me play this. And yeah, the target demographic, I don't target you. But the demographic for this show is not young men. In fact, it's almost exclusively not anyone under 24 years old, because YouTube tells me who watches the show. It's mostly people around my age, on average, which makes sense to me, right? That people who are interested in what I have to say are people like me. But anyway, people who are interested in what Andrew Tate had to say were a lot of young men. So that's apparently who he was influencing, and influencing them enough to make them pay like $50 a month for some kind of bullshit program, which is, amazing. But one of the ways to become famous is by giving advice to young men. And that advice can be something like, make your bed, go on, do some exercise, take accountability for yourself. Or it could be, control your woman, make her do whatever you say, or something. That's the other kind of male empowerment. But male empowerment obviously is a way to fame. Like, ask Mike Cernovich, who also rose to fame through his kind of male empowerment. And his was kind of similar. He would talk about choking, like Cernovich, talk about choking women and stuff and how they like it, which some women do. It's true. But the way Cernovich said it was pretty bad. I had a clip of him saying that. And the way Tate said it was really bad. Almost not cool in any context, the way Tate said it. Talking about choking a woman, basically, and then having sex with her. But slapping her, hitting her first and stuff. He said all that. I don't know if he's going to say that in this clip, but let me play this clip. And this is tweeted out by the guy that's hosting these Twitter Spaces, Mario Nawfal, who we'll be looking into. He's doing an investigation, apparently, into Andrew Tate. And now he says he has whistleblowers contacting him. But here's Andrew Tate in his own words, okay?
I walked in there and said, listen, I've committed multiple felonies. Am I going to go to jail? Well, probably. Well, then see ya. Bye. Yeah. It wasn't nearly as big. And I found this little webcam thing. And I was like, this might be some money. So I text all my girlfriends. I think it was 5 of them. Text all 5. Said, you're all coming here to live with me and work with me. So Tristan will tell you the story. He'll tell you. All 5 flew in, picked them all up. They're all sitting there. I sat them around the same table. Listen, I need to get paid. Right? I'm broke now. I have no money. I'm running out of money. So I put them all around the same table. And I was like, look, we're going to start a webcam business. You're going to stay. You're going to live in London. I'm going to look after you. And we're going to get rich. We're going to be a team. And they're all like, well, who's this bitch? I'm like, she's my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. She's my girl. You're all my chicks. Oh. And you're going to stay here and we're going to make some money. Big fight kicks off, blah, 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 blah. 3 left, 2 stayed. Those are my first 2 girls. And we started this little webcam business from my apartment. And it just grew and grew and grew. And it got to the point where at one point I had 75 women working for me in 4 locations.
Damn.
And I was doing $600,000 a month. This is in the UK. So, but this leads into the story of why I moved to Romania. So at the height of my webcam pimping, I think I'm the king of the world, right? I have all these women, But the problem is my first 2 girls who worked for me because they loved me. I love this man, from the ghetto streets to the hotel suites. So we're working together. But then once you get bigger, you start hiring girls who don't love you. They're in it for the money. And then I had one girl, and she got too drunk one day, and she threw up in my apartment. I told her to clean up. She refused to clean up, start being an idiot. So I took her stuff, threw out the window. You never hit a girl, right? Can't do that. But if all the other girls see me be disrespected, they're going to lose respect for me.
Facts.
Right?
Yep.
So when she's like, I ain't cleaning that up, you get that. So I was like, look, I don't care. And she was my biggest earning girl. She made me on her own maybe $25,000 a month.
Oh, shit.
So I didn't want to fire her. And she knew I didn't want to fire her, which is more reason why I had to fire her ass. So I was like, all right, cool. You want to be a gangster? Right, you're a gangster. Got her shit. We're like high up. We're like high up, like here. It was just out the window. So throw out the window. Got her by her 2 arms and marched her out the door, locked the door. End of it. She starts texting me, you owe me my last month's wages, you owe me my money, give me my money. Did I text her back? I ain't paying you nothing. You threw up my blah, 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 blah. She went to the police.
Oh, shit.
And told the police I hit her. 4 months later, 5 a.m, 4 months later, I'm laying in bed. And I heard the door, boom, 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 boom. And I don't know how I knew. I just knew it was police. As soon as I heard that noise, I just paused for a second. I heard police, but I didn't know what it was for, right? But there's a few things I can't say in the podcast. I've lived a varied life. I've done some things when I had to pay the bills.
Right.
So I was a bit like, what's this going to be? So I flush my phone down the toilet quickly. Boom, I'm coming. So I'm trying to hide shit. I'm looking around. Like, what do I have to hide?
Also, when you're a real G, is that you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. You got to go to Poland, you got to go to Warsaw, fucking Dubai, Miami. Anyone who watches Tate Confidential knows I'm all over the place. So I end up with all these chicks just stuck in their house, sitting there, bored, completely in love with me. And of course, they don't go out. They're not allowed out.
I don't even have to fuck you. Forget the sex part. That's a distraction. My dick can stay in my pants. I'll just start beating the shit out of you. How about that? We walk in the bedroom. I start kicking your ass. No sex. No sex involved. But you cry then.
Here's a little move. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me, trying to resist, and I just
passports, man. If I fuck up and England wants me in jail, I can fly on a Nigerian passport, or an American, or an English, or a Polish, or an Estonian. I have so many passports. What, are you going to block them all? They can't stop me traveling. There's always a passport I can pull out. There's always a driver's license I can pull out. If you ban one, I've got another one. I've got bank.
All right. There you go. Okay. So that's some Andrew Tate. People say he's admitting to crimes. Well, admitting to beating women, it sounds like. Right. Which is a crime in most jurisdictions, except maybe not in Saudi Arabia or something. But in most places, you're not allowed to beat your wife anymore. So, and then he didn't talk in that clip about taking women's passports. People say that he talked about taking women's passports and not letting them leave. I think in one of those clips he was saying, he doesn't let them leave, which is what they've accused him of. Basically, keeping the girls there under lock and key, or if they get followed around by security, so they have no privacy, actually, and no independence. They actually just have to, he controls them through controllers and keeping them locked up, which I think could be a crime. So this is a story in the Romanian press. I'll show you this. Oops. I'll show you this. Another story about Andrew Tate. So prediction for 2023, Andrew Tate might be found guilty if he goes to trial. So here's a story. Andrew Tate tried to seduce daughter of former politician, even though she was underage. This story says. Andrew Tate tried to seduce the daughter of a former politician, even though she was underage. So it said that he tried to get a 16-year-old to come join him. And I assume his webcam business then. It says, after what appeared in the public space, the daughter of the former politician spoke openly about the moment when she was only 16 years old, she received a message from Andrew Tate, through which the young woman says the millionaire wanted to hook her. And then it says in this story that he was also talking to other high school girls. It says, I didn't answer the message, but one of my friends who was 15 years old at the time and was a student in, I don't know what that is, 11th grade, 10th grade, answered. And so the conversation continued a while with brother Tate. The young woman also revealed that Andrew Tate even tried to seduce one of his friends, also a minor, boasting to her about the luxurious life and the cars worth hundreds of thousands of euros that he owns. Okay. So this is a story about him actually trying to hire underage girls for the people who say, oh, it was just a consenting adults and so forth. So that's the latest with the Andrew Tate story. And then for 2023, I have in the title Vaccine Truth. So that is a delicate subject. Hello? Can you guys hear me? It just kicked me out of the stream. Is everything okay? Oh, the deep state's after me too. Yeah, it just kicked me right out. It just deleted out everything. So it's okay. Got me? People thought that they got me. So that's what it's going to be like one day, right? They'll just pull the plug. Yeah, I don't know. My screen just went. So what did I start talking about too? I was talking about the shots, huh? Should I say different words? Should I say code words? I'm literally going to tell you something about the shots. I'll try not to use the V word too much. That you can't say, like, it's gotten to the point, basically. So my prediction for 2023 is that the truth about the vaccine will come out. Or I'm sorry, the jibby jab, the thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. So the truth may already be out. So it's not much to say that the truth will come out. The truth might already be kind of out. According to this Gallup poll, it's a big deal. More than 1 in 4 Americans believe they know somebody who died from the COVID vaccines. More than 1 in 4 Americans, I believe they said it's 28%. Actually, the study found, and this is just what people's opinions are, and why I think the truth is coming out. What is the truth? The truth is that the WHO and local health authorities have determined the vaccine is safe and effective. Yet I can't tell you it doesn't slow down the spread. In fact, I think I have to say it does slow down the spread, and it does reduce hospitalization and death. The only thing is now officially people are saying something different, to where I go to the Wall Street Journal today, and it's different than the guidelines that YouTube gives me. So that's why we are walking a line. But this study that Rasmussen did found that 49% of American adults believe it is likely that the side effects of COVID-19 vaccines have caused a significant number of unexplained deaths. 49%, including 28% who think it's very likely. Okay. 28% of adults say, and this is obviously, they're all conspiracy theorists or something. 28% of adults say they personally know someone whose death they think may have been caused by the side effects of COVID-19 vaccines. 28%. So that's where they get the 1 in 4. So 28% of Americans think they know somebody who died because of the vaccine. 28%, 1 in 4. Can you imagine? 28%. Like, I don't even know anybody. And I'm in the, oh, I can't even say what I really think, right? Because the vaccine, obviously, it is safe and effective and doesn't have a side effect. Like, death is not a side effect of the vaccine, obviously, officially. So it's weird so many people think that. So when I say in 2023, the truth is going to come out, well, nobody's getting the shots. And people are saying things like this, like 50% of people think that it's possible that there's an increase in sudden deaths because of medical intervention that was mandated for a lot of people. So that's what I mean about the truth coming out. But I think it will. And I think actually, to make a prediction, I think YouTube will have to change their policies as a result of things like, oh, that's weird. As a result of things like this story today in the Wall Street Journal. Let me see if I can bring it up for you. I can show it to you on Apple. For some reason, I have it in Apple News. So they're saying in the news that the new variants of COVID are particularly resistant to everything. So I'm not being anti whatever. I'm saying they say the new version of COVID, the one that's going around, that it doesn't matter if you got shots, if you had the virus before, or if you use monoclonal antibodies, that the new version of the virus evades everything. So the conspiracy theorists at the Wall Street Journal, let's see if I can show it to you here. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Are vaccines fueling new? The conspiracy theorists at the Wall Street Journal are saying that are asking the question if the shots are causing these new variants, which are antibody resistant. And so in this article, I don't know what to do because if I read to you from this article, it goes against the guidelines. But so I can say it's a conspiracy theory, basically. So what I have to tell you is that what I'm going to read you must be a conspiracy theory, even though it's in the Wall Street Journal. What they say is, similarly, a study this month in the journal Cell found that antibody levels of people who had received 4 shots were 145 times as high against the original Wuhan strain as the XBB variant. That's the new variant, which they say is antibody resistant. And then it says, experts nevertheless claim that boosters improve protection against XBB. That's disinformation, to use their favorite term. So this article says that it's disinformation to claim that the boosters help against the newest variant, which again is kind of against guidelines to say, but that's what it says in the paper. A Cleveland study that tracked its healthcare workers found that bivalent vaccines reduce the risk of getting infected, there you go, by 30% while the BA.5 variant was spreading. But as the study explained, the reason might be that workers were more cautious, or it may have been that the people who were more cautious were more likely to get boosted. Here's what it says. Notably, workers who had received more doses were at higher risk of getting sick. Those who received 3 more doses were 3.4 times as likely to get infected as the unvaccinated, while those who received 2 were only 2.6 times as likely. Okay, this is a conspiracy theory that I just read to you. Unfortunately, it's published in the Wall Street Journal, but the vaccines do help the spread. This is saying that actually, if you get the vaccine, you're more likely to get COVID, which is crazy, is a crazy conspiracy theory, which is crazy that the Wall Street Journal would publish something like that. And then it says, quote, this is not the only study to find a possible association with more prior vaccine doses and a higher risk of COVID-19, unquote. Okay. So what we're learning, or what I propose is going to happen, it's gotten to a sticky situation with the shots, especially as it concerns the censorship regime here, because they're saying now, not only, and they are saying officially that, and I'll play another clip, but officially, even on MSNBC, they're saying that the new version of the virus evades everything, so that it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not, that it's not going to protect you. That's what they're saying. So I'll play a clip from MSNBC. So anyway, my prediction is pretty soon the guidelines are going to have to change for YouTube to keep up with the science. Like, how can you say you're with the science if now the science is saying something different? Especially if the science now is saying that, for example, like if the science is saying that you're more likely to get COVID if you're vaccinated, like that's kind of messed up for people. So that's why I think when I say make my prediction for 2023, that if that's true, and it can't be true, right? But if that were true, then people will be like, oh, okay, hold on. You're saying not only am I still going to get COVID, but I'm actually more likely to get COVID. I mean, that's a conspiracy theory, right? But like I said, WHO, local health authorities, safe and effective. What else did the guidelines say? Content claiming that vaccines do not reduce transmission or contraction of disease. So I can't make content claiming that the vaccines do not reduce transmission or contraction of disease. But that's exactly what this guy is going to say. So I'm not claiming it, okay? But this is what somebody's saying. This is what Dr. Zeke Emanuel is saying on MSNBC.
B 1.5, it's spreading very rapidly, which means it can evade and outcompete the other subvariants. It seems to avoid the antibodies, but also bind more tightly to cells, and that gives it the competitive advantage it needs. And unfortunately, the antibodies, therefore, we have from infection or vaccines don't seem to work. And the monoclonal antibody, Evusheld, we have that a lot of immunocompromised patients don't use, doesn't seem to be working that well. So it is a great concern. And the fact.
Right. So it's not anti-V. It's not anti-vax. It's anti-everything. The thing evades. And he's just saying that. He's just saying antibodies don't work against this variant. And then some studies are claiming worse than that, but he's saying it, right?
And it's spreading at this moment when people have been traveling, and therefore we're going to see another surge going forward. We can be pretty confident of that.
So is this typical, that the variants keep coming, and as infections spread, this virus finds new ways to conquer our best efforts?
Yes, we do see when the virus spreads to lots more people that you get more variants, because the more it reproduces, the higher the chance of a mutation or a recombination event. And that's actually what's really concerning about China. They will have a lot of deaths, unfortunately, because of the low immunity they have in the population. but also that with hundreds of millions of people getting infected, likely over the next few weeks, they're going to have a lot more variants, and we don't have a good line of sight into those variants and the genome. And that is what's worrisome to other countries about the China situation.
What measures do you think we should be taking against China? Travel ban?
All right. So then he gets into why we're testing people from China and stuff, because we don't know what kind of variant they're going to bring over. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I would give you even more information. They removed the medical misinformation policy from Twitter. One of my predictions for 2023 is that they're going to have to change. They have to change it if the science is different now. So I can't say, I mean, the science as far as YouTube is concerned is settled, and that is what I told you. But obviously some people out there are saying something different. So I would report on it a lot more once the rules change. So I do think they have to. If the data is different, if the data says, I have to believe, okay, since I try to believe in a world that makes sense, that if the science, the accepted science says that you're more likely to get COVID if you're vaccinated, if that's what it says, then I would think that YouTube would update their policy to where you're allowed to say what the accepted science says. So we'll find out, though. For now, I hope I made all the disclaimers I have to. Really, they should give me my channel back that they banned because of talking about the shots. Now that everything is being proven to be true, basically. All right, let's see. Here's a tweet that people are highlighting. Here's someone who got vaccinated and is never going to regret it. This is just a funny tweet. This Dr. Natalia, who apparently is a real person. I will never regret the vaccine, even if it turns out I injected actual poison and have only days to live. My heart is and was in the right place. I got vaccinated out of love, while anti-vaxxers did everything out of hate. If I have to die because of my love for the world, then so be it. But I will never regret or apologize for it. That's a nice statement, right? From someone they don't care. That's good because they did it out of love. Because they did it out of love. All right, let me give you last two bits of news, and then we'll sign out for the day. You guys got the predictions? Okay, hold on. Write them down. I predict that the truth will come out about the shots. But how's that going to be defined? Well, I predict that they might actually halt. I think they might actually halt it. I think in 2023. So that would be on my bingo card, is a halt. You'd have to specify where, but it's going to start some places. Some places are going to put a stop to it, I think, in 2023. And I predict YouTube will have to update their policy to reflect to reflect science, basically. Financial crisis. We haven't had that yet. Financial crisis is coming. The financial crisis will be a debt crisis, and credit markets will freeze, and the Fed will eventually print money again. So that's a more specific version of that prediction. Financial crisis specifically in credit markets, maybe sovereign debt markets, which will cause the system to freeze, crash, and then the central banks will print money like crazy to stop deflation, because that's what we're going to have, a deflationary depression. Okay, so that's prediction. I said about Andrew Tate. Tether in cryptocurrency, Tether is going to collapse this year. I'm going to predict. I'm going to say that Tether collapses in 2023. And that means that Bitcoin will go down below $10,000 in 2023. That's a prediction. So you guys capturing all this? So 2023 Bitcoin under 10K in 2023 because of the collapse of Tether, which will bring down some other stuff too. Okay, you got that? And then AI, of course. 2022 is already a huge year for AI. It was like a coming out year. 2023 AI may start doing things like publishing things on its own or with help, but people will start publishing books, journals, maybe songs, various things with AI. So you will see that, not just people using it as art, but people using it for music, for writing. There might be news bots. There are going to be a lot of AI things happening in 2023. 2022 was just like the beginning, but 2023 is going to be crazy what AI is going to be capable of. Okay. So those are my major predictions. I saved them mostly till the end of the show, really. So you guys got them. You can capture that, put it on TikTok, and then I'll stand by those predictions into the new year. I think that's what I have for today. Let me check my Buy Me a Coffees. You can support the show, and we do rely on your donations, and you can become a member also and have member berries. If you go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, and you can do that anytime, even after the show is over. So it looks like, let's see, it's refreshing. I'll see if anybody got me a coffee during this show. There are some people who bought me coffees in between this show and the one previous to this one. So I'll read those out. Jim from Baltimore got 10 coffees, said happy belated B-Day. Thanks, Jim from Baltimore. 10 coffees is a big gift. Someone did get a coffee during this stream. Thank you, says someone. Jason Brown bought 10 coffees and said he's using an alias. Diolo bought 3 coffees who said, please stay live as long as possible. Everyone else sucks. I don't care what you report on or just open the phones. Yuta King and Doshi is a legend. Thank you for that, Diolo. Got 3 coffees. Christine got 5 coffees. Falling for a while. Thanks for all you do. And I think I read everybody. And then Christine and Far McGargar too. All right. And you can support the show. That's how we run. And you can also buy our t-shirts at truthclothing.io. By the way, we'll leave you guys with that for tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see how the predictions go into the new year. Somebody, Sophisticated says some dude just died on the field in a football game. You mean someone died suddenly in the NFL tonight? I might tune out and then go live. I don't know. We'll see. That sounds like a big story. If that happened, it's definitely not, it's definitely not because of something, but please confirm that story for me. I'll look into it. That sounds like a very big story and its own type of breaking news. All right, guys. Someone from the Buffalo Bills. Okay. I'll keep looking into it. All right, guys. We'll see you at the next one. The show's normally at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then it's other times besides that. We cover the Twitter files live and we cover other breaking news events. You can catch virtually anything on this channel. Make sure you like this video to help out with the algorithm. All right. For now, that's what it is.